Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru
Guru
Paramparam.
Parampara.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana
Bhavatu
Bhunaktu Saha
Sahana
Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, as we have announced, today we will start a new text. It's a Prakarana Grantha composed by. Did I start the recording? I hope. Yes, I did. Okay. So it's a Prakarana Grantha composed by Adi Shankaracharya. So this talks about an aspect of Shiva, which is the Brahma Jnana Guru. Shiva as the teacher, and Shiva as the teacher in his role as a teacher is called Daxinamurthy, right? He is also called Sadashiva. So that's why we chant Sadashiva Samarambha. Sadashiva is another name for Dakshinamurti. And you must remember that Lord Shiva has two roles. One is he is the cause of resolution of the universe, this destruction of the universe. So Layakarta. And Layakarta does the job of Apekshika Nashaha or Atyantika Nashaha. As Shiva, in his role as the destroyer, does he, is the destruction total destruction or is it relative destruction? What is the
Apekshika.
answer? Apekshika. Why?
Because Atyantika destruction would refer to moksha.
Yeah. So Apekshika destruction, because Apekshika means relative. Apekshika Nashaha means relative destruction. Because remember, when he destroys the universe, the Jiva is not destroyed. The Karma Shariram survives. The Karma Shariram of the Jiva, as also Samashti Karma Shariram, it survives the death of the Vyashti and the death of Samashti also. So in his role as Layakarta, he is a Apekshika Nashaha Karanam, while in his role of Dakshinamurti, he is responsible for Atyantika Nashaha. Atyantika Nashaha means your Karana Shariram also gets destroyed, which is another name for moksha. Therefore, this Stotram is written to honor Lord Shiva in the role of this Brahma Guru. And Dakshinamurti literally means that Murti, that form which faces the south, right? And if in our tradition, normally all the deities, they face east or north or west. Why is that so? Why don't the deities face the south?
Southern is predominantly for Yamraj.
South is associated with Yamaraj, Lord Yama, the Lord of Death, right? And therefore the deities are also afraid of death, so they don't face east or north or west. And that is why we also say, when in the tradition we say that when you sleep, your head should not face the south. Right or wrong, there is that belief. Okay, now Dakshinamurti faces the south. Why? Because he is Mrityunjayaha. He is not under the grip of time. He is not under the grip of Lord Yama. Lord Yama is also called Mrityu. Therefore, Mrityunjaya means the one who has conquered death, the one who is not who is not affected by death. And therefore, facing south, the message that Lord Shiva is conveying in this role as Dakshinamurti is that I am facing south because I have nothing to fear from death. I have conquered death. And therefore, if you want to come to me and study, I will also teach you how to conquer death. This is the message conveyed. Now, not only is it a stotram in praise of Lord Shiva in praise of Daxinamurthy. It is also considered a Prakarana Grantha. And there are many commentaries on it. Because it's a Prakarana Grantha, many people have commented. The foremost among them is Sureshwaracharya, who is a direct disciple of Shankara. And actually, he was the first Shankaracharya of the Sringeri Mutt. Right? So he has written a commentary called Manasolasa Vartikam. It's a commentary, it's in verse. It's got 144 verses as commentary on the Dakshinamurthy Stotra. Okay. And this discussion of ours is going to be based on the Stotram, of course, and the Manasolasa commentary by Sureshwaracharya. So initially there are 6 Dhyana slokas. While this text is attributed to Shankaracharya, the Dhyana slokas are written by other Acharyas. Right? So with this background, let us first chant the Dhyana slokas. So I will chant, please unmute yourself. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Param Brahma Tattvam Yuvanam
Maunavyakya Brahmatattvam
Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam
Maunavyakya prakatita brahma tattvam
Vashishtante Vasadarshi Avritram Brahmanishtai
Vashishtante avritam brahmanishtai.
So you all are advanced students, and therefore I have given you the original text without breakup. Okay, but you need to look at it and see where the breakup is when chanting. So Varshishtante Vasad Rishiganaihi Avritam Brahmanishtai. Varshishtante Vasad Rishiganai Avritam Brahmanishtai.
Vashishtante avritam brahmanishtai.
Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudramanandarupam
Chandamudram anandarupam
Atmaramam Muditavadanam Dakshinamurti Midhe
Atmaramam muditvadanam dakshinamurti.
Vatavetapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam
Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam
Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataram Marat
Sakalamunijananam jnanadataram marat.
Tribhuvana Gurumisham Dakshinamurti Devam
Tribhuvanamisham dakshinamurti devam
Janana Marana Dukkacheda Daksham Namami
janana marana dukkhachedatam namami.
Chitram Vatatoror Mule
Chitram vataralo mule
Vridha Shishya Gurur Yuva
Vridha yuva
Gurostmaunam Vyakhyanam
Maulam vyakyanam
Shishyastu Chinna Samsaya
Shishyastu chinna samshaya.
Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam
निधये
सर्वविद्यानां
भिषजे भवरोगिणाम्
भेषजे
सर्वरोगिणां
गुरवे सर्वलोकानाम्
गुरवे सर्वलोकानां
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय
ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय
शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये
शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये
निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय
निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय
व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः.
So, as I mentioned, the Dhyana slokas are not Shankaraji's work, but they are other Acharyas. Now let us look at the meaning. See, these are all the meanings are extracted from Manasalosa by Sarveshwar Acharya. So Dakshina Murtim, we have to break up that word carefully. I'll just mute. I think somebody is talking. All right. So Dakshina Murtim Ide. So it's not Dakshina Murti Mide. It is Dakshina Murtim Ide. So Ide means giving namaskara to or glorification of. Dakshinamurtim is second case for Dakshinamurti, to Dakshinamurti. And therefore Dakshinamurtim Ide, I pay my namaskara, I give my namaskara to Dakshinamurti. Right? For what purposes? Prakatita. Prakatita means having revealed. Prakatita, having revealed Param Brahma Tattvam, the real nature of Brahman. And how did he reveal this? Vyakhya, through teaching and systematic teaching. Therefore, here when all this comes, we have to recall all that we have learned. You go to a teacher in the prescribed way, you serve the teacher, you ask questions, and you study for an extended period of time. So all that you have to add here. But that's why I said it's a text which is slightly advanced. You won't find us. It can be taught as a very preliminary grantha also, but since most of the students have, and actually it was meant for the Upanishad students, but we threw it open to the others also. So if you don't understand, the others will have to, have some patience and go back to their classes, and then slowly as they understand, they will realize what is being said here also. So this Dakshinamurti, I pay my namaskara to, because it is that Dakshinamurti in his role as Brahmagyana Guru, who has Prakatita, revealed Parabrahma Tattvam, the real nature, the supreme nature of Brahman, through Vyakhya, through his teachings, systematic, extended teaching. You have to go to a teacher and learn. That is what is being said here. And he adds one adjective, Mauna. So, Mauna Vyakhyanam, in silence. Okay. So a lot of people misunderstand this and say that Lord Shiva teaches through silence. But silence is not, a method of teaching, right? You cannot teach through silence. And therefore the word maunam here should not be interpreted as silence, as keeping quiet. But you have to take the lakshyartham, the indirect meaning of maunam, which is that this Brahman is taught as parokshaha. Indirectly he is taught. Why do you say that Brahman is taught as parokshaha? Whenever you teach, you have to teach as parokshaha, right? What does parokshaha mean?
Because there is no other way to teach.
There is no other way to teach. You can only teach as having certain qualifications, having certain attributes. But the teacher has to tell you also that even though I am teaching as paroksha, remember that Brahman is not paroksha, it is you only. And therefore, Brahman having no attributes is mukhyartha, direct description. But without attributes, you cannot describe Brahman, you cannot teach. And therefore, any words which are used are an indication only, lakshyartham, right? And that is why here the Stotram says maunam. He cannot directly teach. Even Lord Shiva cannot directly teach. What about other teachers? But he will only tell you what Brahman is and also tell you that you are Brahman. So Brahman is what? Kala desha vastu aparichedaha. What does it mean?
It's not bound by time, space, and
Object.
desha, kala, and vastu, and so that's form.
Yes.
Object and form.
So what does Kala Parichanna mean? Kala Parichanna means he doesn't have a beginning,
Size
nor does he have
boundary.
an end, right? Because he's not bound by the boundaries of time. Desha Aparichannaha means he is not bound by any location, which means he is everywhere. He is Sarvagataha. What about Vastu Aparichedaha? What does it mean? He is not bound by objects. We have discussed this once in Bhagavad Gita, once or twice, but I am wondering whether you remember it. Vastu Aparichedaha, what does it mean?
He cannot be objectified.
He is
No.
the very subject. So how can the subject describe itself?
Anybody else?
The vastu, Acharya would refer to a form.
Yes.
It cannot be described in Nama Rupa.
He is saying Aparichedaha means no Vastu. He is not bound by any Vastu. So the understanding is this Vastu Parichedaha has to be understood very properly, It means what? He is in the form of every Vastu. Right?
Sarvagataha.
Sarvagataha is, not bound by space.
He's in the vastu and outside the
He is
vastu
the
as
form
well.
of every Vastu. There is no Vastu is beyond him. So it's not very commonly used, this Vastu Aparichadaha, but remember that it just means that every object in the world is nothing but Brahman. You cannot, Vastu Parichadaha means what? If you say something is Vastu Parichadaha, it means that is one Vastu, but it is not another Vastu. Like you are saying a glass cannot be a plate. And therefore, when you talk about glass not being a plate, glass is a glass, plate is a plate. They have different attributes, right? But if you say that both are made of the material glass, then the glass material is Vastu Aparichedaha, because the glass material is present in both the glass and the plate, right? Ceramic if it is. And therefore, any attribute that you give, remember, any attribute you give, he is saying any attribute is a limitation, because the moment you give one attribute, it excludes other attributes and opposite attributes. And therefore, you cannot give any attribute to Brahman. Brahman has to be attributeless, because of the fact that the moment to give any attribute, you are saying Brahman is finite, limited by something, right? And to arrive at Brahman, therefore, what is the way? Because attributeless, formless, invisible Brahman, how can you understand? You have to point towards the creation. And once you point towards the creation, you can say this is a creation, this is a karyam, and therefore there has to be a karanam, a product. You arrive at the creator by implication. Once you point out that this is the product, you can automatically say there is a creator. Once you say this is the table, by implication, you can say that there was a carpenter or there is a carpenter. It is called the Lakshana method. You are using the indirect method. You are using an implication. You are not directly saying the creator, but you are saying because there is a creation, there is a creator. There is a creator also. Okay. Now there is also another method which we call neti neti, negating whatever is not Brahman. And whatever is experienced can never be Brahman. Why? Because
Then it will be an object. Indriya agocharam.
that is not the reason.
Because he's the very experiencer.
Sorry?
Because he's the very experiencer.
Exactly. No object of experience is the experiencer. The Brahman is the experiencer, and therefore he is not any object of experience, and therefore we can negate all objects. That is neti neti method. The other one is the implication method. The first one is called Lakshana Vritti method. You are arriving using the implication method. You are arriving at the creator by pointing at the creation. The other method is you are negating all objects of experience and therefore saying that what is left is the experiencer. Both these methods are what? Indirect methods. In neither of these methods, Brahman is directly being defined. So this Mauna Vyakhyaya, the silent teaching, encompasses both these methods. The indirect method of implication and also the indirect method of negation. Both fall under Mauna Vyakhyaya, silent teaching. And that is why he says silent. Okay, I need to be sure that you've understood this concept. Anybody? Okay, fine. All right. Then there's the word Yuvanam, right? So Daxinamurthy, in fact, Lord Shiva himself is always picturized as a young teacher. Wherever you see a photo or you see a, idol, it will always be as a young teacher. Of course, there will be Shivalingam, which is different. So that is one thing. He is always picturized as young and therefore Yuvanam. Yuvanam means youth. And also you can understand that this means that the teacher is free of negativity and cynicism and pessimism, right? Why do you say that? Because normally the young are free of these three. Negativity, young are not negative usually, they are not cynical, and they are not pessimistic. These are three traits of youth. And that also can be taken as a reason why Dakshinamurti is called Yuvanam, young. Okay. In fact, among us in this group itself, there are many long-term students of Vedanta. Right? Several years have passed, you've been studying. And you will appreciate how the exposure to this teaching consistently over a long period of time have brought about a change in your mind, a positive change in your mind. And mostly you will find that you have learned to appreciate everything and not be critical of most things. How many of you all have found that change over the last 7-8 years? Cynicism has gone. Criticism is minimal. And you look at everything and say, this is also okay, that's also okay. So normally you don't have strong opinions about things. Am I right? Has it happened to anybody?
Yes.
Yes, it has.
So you will find that. So that is the meaning also, that this exposure to this teaching will give you this frame of mind. And therefore you can take a third meaning, which is not given in Manolisa, but you can take the third meaning as a mind which has been trained by Vedanta. A person who has listened to Vedanta for a long period, and therefore his mind has become refined. It is another meaning. And the fourth meaning also. This is the meaning of Yuva is Kala Aparichedaha. free from destruction, free from the effects of time. So, apakshayaha, free from decay. That's third meaning. And of course, Lord Shiva is Ajo Nitya Shashvatoham Puranaha. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, he is free from all change, he is eternal, and he is unborn. So all these meanings can be given to this particular word, which is Yuvanam. Okay. All right. Then Varshishtha Antavasa Rishiganaihi Avritam. That is the breakup of that word. Varshishtha Ante Vasada. Varshishtha Antavasa Rishiganaihi Avritam. So Rishiganaihi Avritam. Fairly simple Sanskrit. What does it mean?
Surrounded by all the rishis.
Surrounded by all the rishis. Okay. And these rishis are what? They have got Nitya, Anitya, Vivekaha. And therefore, the direct result of Viveka is Vairagyam. Therefore, you can say that surrounded by all rishis who have got Vairagyam, who are dispassion. And that is why Vedanta will not appeal to one who does not have Vairagyam and Viveka. So therefore, rishis, mature people. And then there are other people also around Daxinamurthy. Antevasi. Antevasi is, we have used this word before in Bhagavad Gita. What does it mean?
Shishya.
Shishya. Literally speaking, residents of a Gurukul. Right? And therefore, they are close to the Guru and they stay just around him. And therefore, this Guru, Dakshinamurti, Lord Shiva, is surrounded by a lot of rishis, very mature people, and also other students of the Gurukul, who can be people who have come to study. And Varshishtaha, right? Varshishta is an adjective for Shishya, right? This is describing the student. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is old in body. It means he has matured out. He is now got Chitta Shuddhi. Which means what? He has gone through Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, all these things, and his mind is now mature. He's got ready. He's ready for Jnanam. And therefore, if you remember Bhajagovindam, Balastavat Krida Saktaha, Tarunastavat Taruni Saktaha, Vriddhastavat Chinta Saktaha, Parame Brahmani Kopina Saktaha. This person is not bound by that anymore. Right? I'm not explaining. I am assuming that most of you all know what this means. Okay? This is from Bhajagovindam, so please go back and 7th verse, if I remember correctly, 7th or 8th verse. If you don't know, you have to go back and see. All right. Then the next word is Brahmanishthaihi. Brahmanishthai normally means a person who Nishtha is established. Brahmanishta means a person who is established in his Swarupam, in his real nature as Brahman, which means the Jnani who knows that he is Brahman. But contextually, does that word fit in over here? Does the meaning of that word, as I said, the Jnani who is established in Brahman, does it fit in over here in this mantra, in this particular verse?
No.
Why not?
Because he's a student here to still assimilate.
Yeah, but he has used the word Brahmanishthaihi. Therefore, you have to talk about a person who is committed to Brahman, but not yet a Jnani. And therefore, what will you say? What should the word mean?
Jignasu?
It
They
can
are-
mean Jignasu also. That is Tivra Mumukshutvam. Very, very, strong Mumukshutvam it can mean, right? But the second meaning is also there. Saguna Brahmanishthaihi. They are religious people. They are established in the worship of Saguna Brahman. They do all the rituals which are prescribed in the Karma Kanda in Vedanta, but they have not yet come to Jnana. Remember that in our tradition, Vedanta is always accompanied, or rather other way around. Karma Kanda is accompanied by Vedanta. And Karma Kanda has rituals, external symbols, etc. That is why if you go to even the major mutts, in ashrams where only Vedanta is taught, Nirguna Brahman is taught, you will find that Sringeri Mutt and all, even though they teach Nirguna Brahman, the daily worship of Saguna Brahman is present. Deeparadhana is there, Mantra Japa is there, all that, Artis are there. Which is what? All that is aimed at Saguna Brahman, right? But the teaching is only Nirguna Brahman, it is Vedanta. Therefore, it's a very clear message that without bhakti, you cannot come to jnana. Bhakti is not a separate path. It is the very substratum of knowledge. Okay. Then, Acharyendram. Right? So, here, the word Acharya Indram. Indram is the person who is Shrestha. He is superior. So, Acharya Indram is the person who is the greatest Guru, superior Guru, which means Adi Guru, which means he had no Guru. And therefore, this is again a word being used to describe Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva had no birth, obviously, and therefore he has no Guru. He teaches, he lives Vedanta, he teaches Vedanta, he is Brahmanistha. So there is a definition of Acharya. Achinoti, Acharati, Acharayati iti Acharya. Achinoti means he has studied, he has been taught, and he has gathered, literally meaning he has put together all the knowledge which he has been taught, Achinoti. And then Acharati, he lives his life according to those teachings. And not only that, Acharayati. One is Acharati, he lives his life, he walks on that path. And one is Acharayati, he teaches others to walk on that path. He teaches that Brahma Jnanam also. He has gathered Brahma Jnanam, he lives according to that Jnanam, and he teaches that Jnanam. That is the meaning of the word Acharya. And here, of course, Acharyendra means the Adi Guru. He had no Guru. That means he is the one who started the Sampradaya. Right? The whole teaching, Parampara itself has emanated from Acharya. That is why we say, Sadashiva Samarambha, Sankaracharya Madhyama. Samarambha. Whole thing began from Daxinamurthy, Sadashiva himself. Then, Karakalita Chinmudram. So we are going word by word. Kara Kalita. Kara is Sanskrit for hand. Kalita means formation or made into. So Kara Kalita means the hand has been made into Chinmudram, the Chinmudra. Right? The Chinmudra, the Lord's hands are in Chinmudra. Dakshinamurti's hands are in Chinmudra. Kara Kalita Chinmudram. He has kept his hands in Chinmudra. And what is the definition of Chinmudra? That is the Sanskrit definition. Angushta Tarjani Yoga. Very nice definition. Angushta Tarjani Yoga. What does it mean? Those who know a bit of Hindi also should be able to tell us.
The thumb and the index finger are joined.
Yes. Angushta is thumb. Tarjani is the index finger. Why is Tarjani called index? Why is the index finger called Tarjani?
It's used to point to somebody.
Tarjani literally means, you are like this, you are like that. You use an index finger, right? You don't use a thumb for that. And therefore, the one who complains, the one who points out is Tarjani. Therefore, the index finger and the thumb are joined together. Yogaha means joined together. So, Chinmudra means Angushta Tarjani Yogaha. Right? And now, what are the names of other three fingers incidentally? We have talked about Angushta, which is the thumb, and Tarjani, which is the forefinger, index finger. What about the other three fingers? Anybody knows the name?
Madhyama,
Madhyama,
Anamika, and Kanishtika.
Very good. Madhyama, Anamika, and Kanishtika. So Madhyama is the middle finger. Anamika, literally meaning the one without a name, is the ring finger. And Kanishtika is the little finger. So Anamika is a very interesting word because you have got thumb, which has got a name, Angushtaha. Tarjani has got a name. Madhyama means middle finger. Kanishtika means little finger. Then the poor little ring finger is left without a name. And therefore Anamika, the little finger. Kanishta means smallest. Okay. And interestingly enough, in Sanskrit grammar, all the four fingers are feminine The thumb is masculine. And therefore, when you talk about the Lord, you take thumb. Thumb is Purushaha. And this, this index finger, the complaining finger, is Jivatma. Therefore, Purusha can be taken as Paramatma also. Therefore, thumb is Paramatma and the index finger is Jivatma. And the index finger has a choice whether it should join with the thumb like this or whether it's joined with the other three fingers like this, right? This choice determines. Therefore, choice being made is by the index finger, by the Jivatma. He has to determine whether he should join with the Paramatma, which is the thumb, or with the three fingers, which represents what? Three fingers represent what?
The three gunas.
The three states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, or the three gunas.
Three gunas is an okay answer, but Shariratrayam is the correct answer.
Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti.
Not Avastha. Shariratrayam, body. Three bodies, right?
Physical.
So Jivatma can decide whether he should join the Paramatma or whether he should join the three bodies. And accordingly, he will decide whether he is immortal or whether he is mortal. Okay. Of course, there are other debates. Does the Tarjani join the thumb at the top or does it join the thumb at the root like this? And there are philosophical debates on that. And it says that, incidentally, do you know what is the difference? If you join like this and if you join like this, what is the difference? It's a very interesting difference.
Yeah, there's a Dhyana Mudra, there is a Jnana Mudra, and
no, we're talking about the philosophical significance of joining, not the mudra part of it. So this is, you can actually look at it and say, this is the Paramatma. You are joining like this. What are you doing?
Sharanagati.
Sharanagati. You have fallen at the feet of the Paramatma and say, I seek Sharanagati. While you join like this, what is it? It's one unbroken whole. Aham Purna Asmi. Aham Brahman. Right? So Aham Brahma Asmi is represented by joining at the top, and Aham Jiva Asmi, and I surrender to you, is represented by joining at the bottom. All very interesting things. Whenever you give lectures, you can always talk about these things. It keeps people more interested than the Vedantic aspect of it. Okay. The next word is Anandamurti. Anandamurti here means form. And therefore, this Shishya, he is in the form of Ananda Swarupam himself, means his bliss. His Ananda is his own. That is part of his intrinsic nature. He doesn't need his Shishyas to be happy. He is happy by himself. And therefore, only Swatma Ramam, one who takes joy in himself. Atmani Atmanaha Tushtaha. He is, the source of Ananda is he himself. And therefore, Mudita Vadanam. Vadana means face. Mudita means happy. Mudita Vadanam means that Lord Shiva, that Dakshinamurti, he has a happy face, visible, contented face. Dakshinamurtim Ide. To such a Dakshinamurti Ide, I offer my worship. Okay, so that is the first Dhyana Sloka. I had thought we would finish the 6th Dhyana Sloka. Only one has come. All right. So we go to the second one. I am not chanting it again. So Dakshinamurti Devam Namami. Fairly clear. To that Devam, to that Lord who is Dakshinamurti, I pay my obeisances. That is the first one. So you have to look at the third line, Dakshinamurti Devam, pluck that word from the third line and connect it to the Namami of the last line. So Dakshinamurti Namami. I bow to that Dakshinamurti who I have described in that verse. Not only that, the rest of the second verse again is a description of that Dakshinamurti. So Nishannam. Nishannam means seated, sitting down. Where? Vata Vitapi Samipe. So Vata is the banyan tree. Vita means branch. Samipe means near. Vata Vitapi Samipe, near the banyan tree branch. He is sitting. And where exactly? Bhumi Bhage. So Bhumi means the earth. You can take it at the root of the banyan tree, near the branch he is sitting. Dakshinamurti is sitting. And who all are there? Sakala Muni Jananam. All the Muni. Sakalam means Muni. All. Sakalam means everybody, all. Muni Jananam, all the people who are Munis, a discriminative people. And you must remember the definition of Muni. Mananath iti Munihi. The one who does Mananam all the time, one who is discriminative is the Muni, which means he is Sadhana Yathushta Sampanna Purushaha. This Muni, this discriminative student who is got Chitta Shuddhi, he is sitting near the Lord Dakshinamurti. Then, and who is this Lord Jnana Dataram Arat. Jnana Dataram Arat. Right? So, Jnana Dataram, the one who gives Jnanam, Arat. Arat means direct. And here, direct means because of the sampradaya, because of the way of teaching, he is able to make the student understand that Brahman is not some object, but Brahman is the student himself. And that is the indication, that is what is represented by the term Arat, direct knowledge, aparoksha jnanam, knowledge that you are Brahman. So you can have knowledge about an object, and that is paroksha jnanam. And you can have knowledge that this object is me, that is aparoksha jnanam. That can happen only when, in the case of Brahman, because you can't be any other object, right? So Jnanadataram Arat means the guru who has given the student aparoksha jnanam about Brahman. Aparoksha jnanam means the student knows that he is Brahman. And therefore the teacher's skill, it is basically in ensuring that while teaching, the student never understands Brahman as something different from him. In every sentence or every few sentences, the teacher must drive home the fact that though I am telling you all about Brahman, that Brahman is none other than you. So that idea is that the teacher is saying Brahman has these attributes, but finally the student should understand that I have these attributes. If the teacher is a good teacher, by the time he finishes, whenever he talks about Brahman, the student will not say Brahman is eternal. The student will say I am eternal. The student will not say Brahman is sarvagataha. The student will say I am sarvagataha. So that is what is the skill of the teacher. Okay, there is another meaning of Arat. Okay, Arat means from a distance. So it can be taken as meaning that this Dakshinamurti teaches from a distance. But that doesn't fit in the context, right? So contextually, we have to say that Arat means direct knowledge, aparoksha jnana. Right. Now, what is the next one? Tribhuvana Gurum Isham. So, Tribhuvanam Gurum, Guru of the three worlds. Then you have to take out Tribhuvana again and say Tribhuvanam Isham. So, Tribhuvana Gurum Isham is Tribhuvana Gurum and Tribhuvana Isham. So, Guru of the three worlds, Tribhuvana Gurum, and Guru of and the Lord of three worlds, Isham, Lord of three worlds also. Both are there, right? So there is a nice little verse. I don't know how many of you heard it, which describes the Guru. Gukarasya andhakaro vai rukarasya tan nivartakaha andhakara nivartatvat gurum mityabhidhiyate. So, Gukarasya andhakaro vai. Gukara means what?
The go. The gu part of the guru.
The gu part of the guru. The kara means it's that is the way in Sanskrit refers to alphabets. So akara, ukara, makara, like that. So gukara means the gu part of it. Gukarasya andakaro vai. Gu refers to andakara, that is to ignorance, darkness. Rukarasya tannivartakaha. The ru refers to the removal. Tannivartakaha, andakara nivartakaha. Removal of the andakara, removal of the darkness. And andakara nivartatvat, because of the fact that the guru removes the andakara, guru mitya vidiyate. He is called a guru. The gu is darkness, the ru is remover. That is why he is called guru. Okay. Isham means the one who rules over, the controller. So sarvam ishate yati ishaha. That is the meaning, right? But again, in this context, it doesn't fit. Why it doesn't fit? He is the guru of the three worlds. Then why suddenly bring a controller or a overlordship over there? So the commentators say that here you cannot take the meaning of controller or take the meaning of a person who communicates well. And therefore, this Daxinamurthy, he is well versed in communication also. He is Strotram, he understands how to communicate. And Janana, Marana, Dukkha, Chedaha, Daksham. So Daksham is skillful. So this guru, he is Daksham, he is skillful. At what? Janana, Marana, Dukkha, Chedaha. Chedaha means destruction. And therefore, destroying what? Janana, Marana, Dukkha. The sorrows of being born and dying. Okay. Any questions so far?
Acharya ji, we say that a guru has to be Shrotriya and Brahmanishta.
Yes.
So how is Adi Guru Shrotriya?
Adi Guru is the very source of the teaching. And that's why you say he is an Adi Guru. Adi Guru, that particular thing is not applicable. Shrotriya means he has been taught, right? Now, taught means you have to be born. Shiva was never born. So the very knowledge, he is the knowledge itself. There is no question of him having to learn from anybody.
Yes, right.
Adi Guru never learns. He is the source of all learning.
Ji, thanks.
Okay. So we go to the third verse. We are making some progress. So Chitram. The Chitram here literally means how wonderful. Ascharyam. So Chitram, it is wonderful that Vatataror Mule, at the foot of the Vata Vriksha. Vata Vriksha means the banyan tree. Mule is at the root or at the bottom of, at the foot of. So Vatataror Mule, at the foot of the banyan tree. Who is there? Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva. Okay, Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva. There is a Vriddha Shishya. The Shishyas are old, and Gurur Yuva, the Guru is young. We will come to that. Then Guroho tu Maunam Vyakhyanam. Guros tu has to be broken up. Guroho tu Maunam Vyakhyanam. This teacher teaches in silence. And Shishyaha tu Chinna Samshaya. And even though the teacher teaches in silence, all the doubts of the students are removed. Right? So at the bottom of the Vata Vriksha, the Vatataror Mule, bottom of the banyan tree, something wonderful is happening. Chitram, something wonderful is happening. And what is that? Vriddha Shishya Guru Riva. Normally, you will find that in the Vedanta class, the teacher is old and the student is young. Because Vedanta is a very difficult subject to, first of all, to understand, and then even more difficult to assimilate it. Therefore, it takes many, many years of your life, many decades of your life. And hence, normally the student is younger and the teacher is older. But here, the order has been reversed. in the verse, and this is Vriddha Shishya. So Vriddha Shishya can be taken to mean a person who is old in studying. He has studied for several years. So a person who has been committed to Vedanta, who has studied for many, many years, and therefore it can be taken as to mean that there is maturity in the understanding of the Shishya. And Guru Riva, he is unborn, Ajaha. Daxinamurthy, Lord Shiva is unborn. And what is unborn is beyond time, and what is beyond time cannot ever age, and therefore the idea of Yuva, ever young. You can take it a mind which is positive, right? And this is what all of us should work on actually. If in our life we stop dreaming, and start to have regrets, that is the first sign. The day you stop dreaming and start to have regrets, it's a sign that Vedanta is not working on you. You have entered old age. So better to jump back to Vedanta class with a vengeance. Okay, another interpretation of Guru Riva means youth is normally associated with lots of energy. So this Guru is never tired. He will not go back after 1 hour of class and say, okay, I've had enough. And he will sit there and he will talk and he will explain for as long as you want, providing it is Vedanta, right? So this word silence, Maunam, will be very careful. It is figurative only, right? You cannot, transmit knowledge by keeping quiet. You have to transmit knowledge how? The vritti rupam jnanam, the knowledge which you have, which the Guru has, is vritti rupam, right? It is in the form of thoughts. And if that vritti rupa jnanam has to be, conveyed to the student, remember that it has to be converted into words, unless the student and the teacher are both using telepathy, which we don't talk about. So this vritti rupa jnanam, the thoughts in my mind have to be converted into knowledge in the form of words. So vritti rupam jnanam gets converted to shabda rupa jnanam, shabda rupa upadeshaha. And that shabda rupa, the words in the form of, the jnanam in the form of words, they will fall on your ears. And this process where the thoughts in my mind are converted into words, and those words conveying the knowledge fall on your ears, and therefore the knowledge arises in your mind. That process is called Shravana. Therefore, Maunam should not be taken as not talking. It has to be taken as talking about the subject. But because no direct description of Brahman is possible, because Brahman is Nirguna. And therefore, it's always indirect. Brahman has to be taught through implication only. Lakshana vrittihi. Right? For example, Kena Upanishad says, Yan manasana manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahmattam viddhi nedam ididam upasate. That which you worship, that which you understand, yan manasana manute, that which you try to know cannot be known by the mind, but because of which the mind is known. So that Brahman cannot be known by the mind, but you have to understand that Brahman is that power because of which you know the mind. Tadeva brahmatvam viddhi. May you know that alone as Brahman. Nedam yadidam upasate. That deity which you worship, that is not Brahman. A very beautiful line. That Brahman can never be known by the mind, but that Brahman is that power because of which you know the mind, right? And that power alone you should know as Brahman. The deity you worship, that is certainly not Brahman. That is called indirect teaching, because Brahman has not been described at all, right? It's a negatively describing what Brahman is not. And therefore, Vyakhyanam, a systematic teaching over a sustained period of time, in long period of time, subject by subject, the teaching is unfolded in a very systematic manner. So nobody gets Atmajnanam by going to his teacher and the teacher touching on your head. That kind of thing doesn't work. The teacher's grace is available to everybody. all his students by way of the teaching alone. And therefore he says, Shishyastu Chinna Samshaya. Even though the subject cannot be taught directly, even though Brahman's attributes cannot be talked about, the students are able to understand and they are free from doubts. They know without any doubt that they are Brahman. All these ideas put together, Chitram. So wonderful it is. It is an Ashcharan. It's a real wonder. So with this, we'll stop for today. Any questions I'll take. Otherwise, next week.
Acharya ji, may I ask one?
Please.
Why do we, in our scriptures, the stories we hear about, we always talk about the tree, the banyan tree, as the place where you sit under and you get the jnana. Here also the same thing is said. Why? What is the significance of banyan tree?
It's got a lot of shade. It's a big tree and a lot of
Yes.
shade. You don't want to sit in the sun, right?
Okay.
You sit there. Not only that,
Nothing more than that.
nothing more than that. It could be any tree, but something they want to talk about. Usually they talk about the banyan tree. But in the Gita, they talk about people tree, right? Chapter 15.
Yeah.
So there are other trees also.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
All right. So with this, we'll stop for today. Any questions may please be put in the group. And since this consists of a mixed group, all questions may please be put in the Prakarana Grantha group if it is there. Okay. In future, all our session IDs, at least as far as Daxinamurthy Stotram is concerned, will be there in the Vedanta group, in the Vedanta Prakarana Grantha group. So anybody who is not there among you, please join that group so that you stay abreast of all the session meeting notices. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate. Om
Shanti
Shanti
Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your
Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Acharya.
Shivaya, thank